Hello, shalom, and welcome to Atidot, or as we say here in Israel, Bruchim Habayim LaAtidot. My name is Hannah, and I want to congratulate you on starting your new job. For many of you, this may be the first time you work with Israelis. But don't worry, as an American myself, I've spent enough time in both countries to understand how both cultures work. And today, I'm going to break down the 7 biggest culture shocks you may face when working with Israelis, so you can prepare yourself for what's to come. So, are you ready? Let's get into it. Number 7. Let's talk about numbers. This one isn't really a culture shock, but there are some interesting facts that may be important to understand when working with an Israeli company. Israel's history goes back 2,000 years, but in 1948, Israel was officially declared an independent state. Israel is a tiny country in the Middle East, approximately the size of the state of New Jersey, with around 9 million people. Despite being so small, Israel is called the startup nation because of all the amazing companies that came out of here, like Waze, Wix, Mobileye, Fiverr, and many, many, many more. In 2021, Israeli privately held tech companies raised a record $25.6 billion. That's billion, with a B. There is so much to know about the Israeli tech world, and hopefully working at Atidot will help you get a better picture of what it's all about. Number 6. Speaking of work, let's talk about the work week. Here in Israel, we work from Sunday through Thursday. That means there is a whole new meaning to TGIF. You will see little to no emails in your inbox on Friday from your Israeli coworkers. So enjoy the downtime. Get a margarita. However, the Monday blues will be a bit more intense as your inbox might be flooded with the Sunday catch-up. Another thing to consider is time zones. Your Monday starts when Israel has already had 2 days of work, Sunday and most of Monday. So don't be surprised when you see your inbox on Monday morning. Number 5, dress code. Here in Israel, casual takes on a whole new meaning. It is perfectly acceptable to go to work in jeans and a t-shirt, and the occasional flip-flop or hiking sandal or very comfortable Atidot sweatshirt. Even meetings with high-end clients don't exactly require a suit over here. Maybe a nice button-down shirt. We just prefer to be comfortable. So if you ever have a Zoom meeting or get the opportunity to come visit us, dress accordingly. Number 4, Israeli names. You're not going to see many Michaels or Karens when working with Israelis. You might get a Dudu or Osnat, and while they sound a little funny for an English speaker, these are pretty popular names here in Israel. Some of the names have the R sound, which is pretty hard for the Americans to say. Like our CEO, his name is Dror. Israelis would say Dror, Dror. It's pretty hard to pronounce, but Israelis have pretty thick skin, so no one will be offended by a mispronounced name. Number 3. Speaking of CEOs, Israel is much less hierarchical than the US and supports a much more participative work style. You might perceive this as in your face or over-involvement, but really the culture is more collaborative, where there's easy access to management and top leaders. Number 2. Americans love to plan ahead. It's in our nature. We tend to have a strong future orientation. I mean, we plan what college we are going to years before we even start high school. Israelis are more spontaneous, so keep that in mind when planning your schedule. This also might mean that travel for a conference might be booked a week before takeoff, or you might have a meeting scheduled to work on a presentation due the next morning. It's common practice in Israel, and although it might seem scary to an American, once you understand that this is part of the culture, the nerves tend to subside. Okay, the number one thing to be prepared for when working with Israelis is, drumroll please, Israeli chutzpah. When you Google Translate chutzpah, you'll see it means nerve, and often people describe it as being rude, but that's not it at all. Israelis are gutsy, confident, bold. When they want something, they go for it. They push to get it. They don't avoid conflict. They confront people and find a solution. This is why Israel is the startup nation. This is how businesses get off the ground. So if you get a blank email with a subject line saying, "Is my report ready?" it's not rude, it's efficient. It might take a while to get used to, but before you know it, you'll have a little chutzpah yourself, and it is going to help you thrive in the workforce and in life. And at the end of the day, Israelis are some of the warmest, most welcoming people you will ever meet. In Israel, everybody is family, and now, so are you. We are so lucky to have you on board. We are sure you are going to make an impact and help Atidot continue to grow. So, welcome. Bruchim habayim. Good luck, and enjoy the ride.